Well, this is Jerry with another episode of What's Broke Today, and what we're doing today is I got a trailer here that has problems with the lights, and of course, like our plug that plugs into the truck doesn't look real good, and we got all kinds of wires dangling. So I was going to start out with, I've got made me up this little thing for testing that I've got the truck end of the 4-way plug. I got alligator clips on all the wires so I can plug it in. And then of course our white wire is always ground. And then I've got the brown, the yellow, and the green. So the brown is always tail lights. Yellow is the left side brake and turn, and green is the right side. And this, how I remember that, is yellow has 2 L's in it for left, and green has an R in it for right. And all I'm going to do is one at a time. I'll clip that on the battery. And we'll walk back here, and well, that light lit up for tail. That one lit up, probably not as bright. That might just... And then we'll hook the green up next for the right. Well, actually, we'll just hook them both up because I don't guess it really matters. I guess if they both get brighter. And when I did that, I lost everything. Let's come back here and we'll take our yellow off first. When I took yellow off, the left side's still out, right side's still out. How about that? And we'll take the green off and just do the yellow. And I still got nothing. But then I unhooked the yellow. Well, I must have done something, because everything unhooked. Well, yep, I got my tail lights back. So let's do this again. I must not have had a good connection at my battery. So yeah, so we'll add the green wire onto the brown with the tail. And yeah, as soon as I do that, I lose tail. I unhook it. That is strange. So a betting person says I probably got a ground issue, but I'm looking at, well, you talk about people when they wire things. Look at that. Why does nothing work? Because we just twisted wires together and didn't even do anything to seal them up. Now, those still look like they're all intact. This is why it gets brought to me, is because they're not smart enough to hook things up properly. And it's sad to talk about it that way, but so let's wiggle that and wiggle that. And see, I can see, you probably can't see, but I can see the bottom and see that the license plate light's on. So let's do this again. Let's clip on our green. And as soon as I do, our license plate light goes out. So I would say we've got a ground problem to start out with. So and for testing this stuff, that sometimes that's where it comes in handy to make jumper wires. So I can come here and clip ground there, and then my safety chains where they hook, I can get ground there. And when I do that, I grab the camera. So see, what I did here is I left the brown and the green hooked up. I added this extra ground from the negative of the battery down to the frame of the trailer down there. And when I do that, I still kept tail lights, even though that's damn near bright enough to be brake, but I think that is just tail. And then over here, that one's bright like we got and of course, got side markers that are lit up. So let's unhook our green. Yeah, so that all looks good. So now let's hook up the yellow. And a lot of times you can tell if you're going to have something on is when you clip the extra wire, things get brighter. So thing is, that looks the same. So what I'm going to do, cheat a little, I'm going to take my camera, mount it on the tripod, and I'm going to pause this recording, and then I start a new recording. And see, you watch that light, and I'm going to take my and go yellow is off, touch yellow, off of yellow, touch yellow, off yellow, touch yellow, off yellow. And then I'll take my GoPro and move it to the other side where we can see the right rear. And we'll do the same test. We'll go on green, off green, on green, off green, on green, off green. And then from there, I'm going to stop this recording. I'm going to go back and look at the footage and see what I got. Well, since from that earlier video, it does look like the light on the right side is working properly. Now see, one here on the left, even though it's screwed in, he didn't tighten the bolts. I can take it off with my fingers. So we definitely got to address that, because I'd say this is a brand new light, and he does have yellow hooked to yellow, and green hooked to or brown hooked to brown, and yellow hooked to yellow. And if you notice at the end of the video where I was doing the light test, when the light on the other side lit back up, and like brake light at the end, the green and the yellow were touching those alligator clips. And if this light bulb's been on and you take that cover off and grab this bulb fairly quickly, it's going to be extremely hot. Another thing I've noticed is where he's got the pipe coming down through here that the wires run through, they've run a new wire there. Guessing he probably couldn't figure out how to get the new wire down through the tube, because we're not using those because they are I mean literally, or it's you couldn't attach to them anyway if you wanted to, because there ain't enough wire there. Now, one good thing they did do is for this metal tube, they did put some kind of protector there so it didn't cut the wires. But yeah, so they just ran that new wire down along the edge of, on the inside there, and part of it's actually laying up on the floor of the trailer. But and see, that won't move at all. And I'm gonna take the camera with me, because the other thing we got to look at on this is on the other side we had marker lights. Well, on this side there are no marker lights, which means those wires had to break out of that tube somewhere to come underneath. So, and there's where they got their ground, and see, he puts a screw in for the ground and it's loose. You can't have loose connectors like that. And of course, here's where that other light would be, and of course no wires there. And I see nothing coming down there. So I'm going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to unbolt this board and get it out of the way. And let's look behind it, because I bet you there's an opening in that tube. Excuse me, someplace where I can't see. And it's the wires are coming out that went to those marker lights. Okay, well, we're going to get ready to just start putting and getting things actually fixed and back together. That I do know is however he's got his wires set up here isn't long enough to reach the truck. So I'm going to basically, where he's taped things, I'm going to pull his tape off and throw it away. And then we're going to get rid of this. So basically I get this pulled away like so, and then let's go under here, and I want to bring all this up on top. And I inspect all his connections, because I'm going to be redoing some of this, because I got to look. I didn't even see that on here earlier. I don't know. Bring the camera a little closer, but this thing he's got here, I have no idea what that, other than it's hooking wires together. And I'm going to start out by taking my cutters. I'm going to cut that off as close to there as I can, because I have a funny feeling Alright, get the meter out. And let's set it just on continuity. And basically where continuity on my meter just means, do I have a circuit? And that counts that. So of course all this goopy taping, but at least where I cut it there aren't any wires touching. But if I go to, now let's get the pocket knife. Alright, pull that out of the way, and Curtis, my elbow's clean. The dog thinks he needs to wash my elbow, which probably means the cat's nearby. Because the dog, for some reason, gets jealous of the cat. So, I'm going to come here and separate my brown and my yellow. I'm just going to strip just a little bit of wire off, or insulation off each one. Because I got a funny feeling that thing he had taped up was hooking everything together. So yeah, as soon as I connect, with try and set this up so you can see. And okay, so I got the one and with the point, which may be hard to see. As soon as I touch the brown and the yellow together, I make a connection. So basically what this thing was, he had in there, because I'll go to the brown here and go to yellow, connection, or brown in the block to brown, connection. This one connection. So yeah, so I don't know what they was thinking. They had everything lit up at the same time. So now what we talked about on the tail light earlier still applies, just not the same as it did originally, because I didn't notice what he had done there. I need this up here. But those two are separate. And everything where I connect two wires together, I'm going to use these waterproof shrink wrap butt connectors. And of course the winds are blowing, so it's going to be hard to shrink them today. But I know I'm going to need at least 4 of them, so that's where I'm starting out at. And they got so much extra, I actually cut off some of the shrink wrap part, because you don't need that as much as is on these. So I'm cutting off about 2/3 of it. Alright, there's that. And then his other concern was, needs it to reach his truck. Well, when you get all the wires pulled around like this, it should. And then I'll take and strip a little wire off each one. And of course, the wire is so small, I'm actually going to take this and fold it in half. And then slide our butt connector on. And I'll take my crimper. Crimp one. And number 2. That'll take care of that. And I'm going to look at the video and make sure that I got everything taped right. Okay, well, let's get into some taillight science. That, you remember when I first started, this was always bright and always had side marker. Well, that was probably because I cut this off of the plug that went to the truck when I pulled those wires out, and I found that he had, and this thing connects everything together. All 4 wires are connected, and he has all the browns and all the yellows going into this, so it didn't matter if you powered up brown or powered up, say tail lights or brake or turn, you lit up everything. So get rid of that. So that would explain part of what we was getting back there at this light. The only thing it didn't explain was, when I sent both of them, the light went out. Well, that was our bad ground. So when I want to look at the bad ground, I start out by testing the light, and I'll take the tail light brown wire, touch it to the battery, and we have tail light and side marker. Then I'll touch the yellow for brake, and it lights up bright. Connect them both together and put them on there, and I got all filaments are lit up. Now, when you have a bad ground and we take ground away, well, if you have no ground, then you have no light at all. So, but in these bulbs, we have 2 filaments. Big filament for the brake and turn, and then a little one that's our tail light that doesn't light up as bright. If I don't have a good ground, I can literally get my ground from another light. So let's say, I'll clip my ground wire onto the yellow for the brake turn, and then we'll come over to the battery, and let's say I turn on my tail lights. Well, it still lights up. And we go, well, why did it light up? Well, it's because the power came in through the brown wire to the light bulb, through the light bulb to ground, then from the ground back through the brake turn of the bulb, and then out to the yellow wire. Because it's hard to see in the picture, but if you look really close, the big filament for the brake and turn, it's not as bright, but it has an orange tinge to it. And it doesn't matter. Same way if your tail lights aren't on, you step on the brake, well, it'll still light up. It turns on the bulbs that light up are the ones that require the least amount of current to light up, which is our tail lights. So if you think you have a ground problem, all you need is a piece of wire with a couple alligator clips on it, and you got your tail light mounted into your trailer. Well, just clip on the back of one of those studs, and then take the other end and ground it somewhere on the frame and recheck and see if all of a sudden your lights start working right, then you know your problem was with the ground. And of course, you could even have a bad bulb, but usually when the bulb's bad, it's a filament's bad. You'll have brake and turn but no tail, or you have tail but no brake and turn. So, but yeah, you always do want to check the bulbs. But bad ground, a very common thing you'll find on a trailer.